exit bonus. I'm off to deliver a V12 E Type Jag to Le Mans in France. It was really hard to know what you're supposed to take in terms of spares and tools, but I've got some. Lightweight alloy trolley jack, a lot of old fan belts that I took off when it came out of hibernation. There's nothing ostensibly wrong with them, but I replaced them anyway, so they're okay for emergencies. And tool bag with spanners, sockets, screwdrivers, pliers. Yeah, that's kind of it really. Full tank of gas, ready to go. So the plan is to drive to Poole in Dorset, where the E-Type's located, pick it up with my co-pilot, then drive the Merc and the E-Type to Le Mans, coming back in the Merc. Now you'd think finding someone to help you drive a V12 E Type Jag to France would be quite easy, but no, it's proved very difficult. I asked everyone I could think of, or almost everyone, and then I remember my nephew, Chaz, who drives an old Land Rover every day. I can't repeat what he actually said when I asked him, but he was very keen, let's put it that way, so I'm now off to meet him somewhere near Newbury. The E-Type belongs to Julian Barrett of SNG Barrett, the big Jag spares specialist. He's doing a road rally that starts at Le Mans in France, but he can't get there for the beginning of it and he needs the car delivered there. But just 15 minutes or so into my journey, smoke billowed from under the bonnet and out of the Merc's heater vents, and I thought the whole thing was about to go up. I kept going because I figured that having the air rushing through was, you know, more likely to put the flames out than if I stopped and opened the bonnet and just let more air in. There might be some logic in there. I don't know. Anyway, what had happened was that some of this soundproofing had fallen off, hit that exhaust manifold down there, and then caught fire. And as you can see, it's made a bit of a mess. It's melted a vacuum pipe here, but that just activates the EGR, which I've disconnected anyway. That's the other end of it, which is nicely sealed. More worryingly, this wiring here feeds the gas injectors, but they still appear to be working fine. So, I mean, I had two choices. I'd have to cancel the ferries. I'd have to tell Julian I couldn't get his car there. I'd have to tell Chaz to go home, or I could just push on. And I decided to do that. Chaz, what are you doing?
I'm taking the, is it the low tension wire?
Oh.
Because then they want to nick it. They're the most nicked vehicle in the country, apparently.
That's the new one, surely.
Maybe. Maybe.
How are you?
Really good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, well, yeah. Right, let's go.
So you've got tools?
Yeah. You've never driven an E-Type, have you?
I've not, no.
I'm a bit of a heretic really, because everyone goes on about the early ones, the straight six engine, and they're the purest and the nicest. I don't really like that much.
I'm completely, I haven't done my research. I know
the early ones are very sort of, they're beautiful.
Yeah.
They're a bit fragile looking for me. The wheels are really sort of inboard, and they just look like, be one of those kids in the playground, if somebody shouted they'd run away and hide in the corner. They look a bit like that. Easily upset.
Neurotic.
Yeah.
Stressed. Like a whippet.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas the V12 is more of a British bulldog. It's got a wider track and the wheels are bigger and it's got slightly flared arches. And it just looks more muscular. And of course it's got a 5.3 litre V12 in it.
I'm very, very, very excited to have a go. You've seen my car, it couldn't be more different.
Well, they're both made in Britain, they've both got four wheels, and that's about...
Exactly, so it's pretty much the same thing.
Let's come out. In sunny Dorset. Heading to LVG. Chaz and I headed down to Phoenix Classics in Poole in Dorset, which is where Julian had dropped off his E-Type. When I was a lad, Our house was opposite the village shop, and people used to park outside and nip in to get their newspapers. And I remember 3 cars in particular: a purple Drive GT6, a yellow Lotus Elan, and a dark blue E Type V12. I didn't know it was a V12 at the time. I didn't know what a V12 was, but I remember clearly the 4 exhaust pipes. I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. I think I kind of still do. What do you think?
It's going to do, I reckon.
You alright, that?
Absolutely beautiful.
We had an early morning ferry crossing booked for both cars to Cherbourg the next morning, so we headed to the Premier Inn to get some kit. Love an early start. That's definitely what this is. It's raining slightly as well, which I love just as much as the early start. There's this nice old Beamer parked next to our cars as well. So, would you like A, Mr. Blobby, or B, Mr. E? These are good. Sat in the queue waiting for the ferry at Poole. I've got an earworm of the Stranglers, Goodbye Toulouse. And we're not going to Toulouse, we're going to Le Mans, but it's better than what I had last night as an earworm, which was Wombling Merry Christmas, which is a bit previous even by modern shop standards. This car's got an amazing dashboard. There's a bewildering array of switches along here, which obviously when you're going along you can't work out what any of them do. And it's got the most minimalist heater controls I've ever seen. This is it. Hot and cold, up or down, that's your lot.
Please may now go down to the vehicle.
First job was to get some LPG for the Merc, and then we could hit the road. Despite having a 5.3 litre V12 engine, it revs quite hard, this car. I mean, at 70 miles an hour it's doing 3,000 RPM, whereas the Merc, for instance, should be doing about 2,000. But I guess it's built for the American market, which at the time had a sort of blanket speed limit of 55 miles an hour, so it wasn't really relevant. But a 5-speed gearbox would be a great addition to one of these things. Rather than just black down the motorway, we decided to take the A roads and travel through some French towns on the way to Le Mans. But as time went on, I started to notice that selecting gears in the E Type was becoming slightly more difficult. I figured the car was just getting a bit hot and bothered and the gearbox was just getting a bit cranky, you know, 50-year-old car and all that. So we pressed on. But then we came to a junction and I could barely get it into first gear to pull away. So we decided to have a break and pulled into a lay-by and stopped for 20 minutes, let the car cool down and to let Chaz have a go in it, which is when this happened.
Yeah, we'll go to gear.
He wasn't wrong, it really wouldn't go into gear, at least not with the engine running anyway. Obviously, you could get it into first gear with the engine off, but if you then started the car with the clutch to the floor, the car would start leaping forward. I reckoned that I might be able to get it going that way if we could get back to the motorway quickly by the shortest route possible, get it into top gear and just cruise and get it as close to Le Mans as we possibly could, in the hope that the guy at the classic car specialist there that we were delivering it to would be able to come out and give us a hand to get it back to his place. So that's what we decided to do. You can find out whether we made it to Le Mans in part 2.